Cox. In this video, I'd like to show you how the three non-math PassGED websites can help you get 3/4 of the points on writing questions in the GED Science Test, in the GED Social Studies Test, and in the GED Language Arts Test. I begin by going to PassGED.weebly.com, and here are links to all four of the PassGED websites. I'm going to bring up the three non-math websites quickly so that we can look at them side by side. You can't see what I'm doing on your screen, but what happens is that we'll be able to look at all three of the websites in the rest of this video. And now in each of these three tests, about 15 to 20% of the points come from the writing questions, but they're more important than that because so many people are anxious about them. On the science test, we're in the science website now. There are two writing questions, and so there are two write sections, write 1 and write 2. In social studies, I'm moving to that website. There's one writing question, so there's one write section. In language arts, there's 1 and 1. Now the four questions in the three tests are different, but they share two characteristics. First, you know what the questions will look like, and second, you know that your answers will be graded by a computer. The computer cannot evaluate the quality of your writing. All it can do is look for keywords and phrases in your response. So to get 3/4 of the points on each of these questions, you have to satisfy the computer, not an English teacher. That's kind of sad, but it's true. Now, to satisfy the computer, all three websites, all four questions, use the finish the sentences system. Let's go to the first writing question in science to see how this works. In step 1 of the finish the sentences system, in this first science question, you type these 7 unfinished sentences into the answer box. Now you have to memorize them because no notes are permitted on the test. But these particular unfinished sentences for this question ensure that you will answer the right question, that your response will be well organized, and that you'll include enough keywords and phrases the computer is looking for. Now if you go to social studies and look at the right section there, you see a different set of unfinished sentences in step 1 of the finished sentences process. And if you go to language arts, and I'll click on the right section, there's still a different one. There are 14 sentences in language arts. That's a lot, but there is a pattern to it. Now I'm going back to the first science question and show you step 2. In step 2, you use the materials provided in the question. In the case of the first science question, it's a document, to finish the sentences in your answer box on the test. So here, I'm in the first science question. The boldface type here is the unfinished sentence you have entered, and the regular type is how you finish the sentence based on what you read, what you see in the document that's provided. And so you finish each of the sentences this way. And if you clean it up, it'll look something like this. Now in language arts, you go through a similar process. I'm going to go back up and look at an example again in the language arts question. So here in boldface are the unfinished sentences you've entered in step 1, and here in regular type in step 2 of the finish the sentences system is what you add after reading, in this case, 2 documents in order to answer the question. And if you looked at social studies, you'd see something similar. Now, on the language arts and social studies tests, you have dedicated periods of 45 and 25 minutes for the writing questions. So there it makes sense to use step 3 of the system and to revise the drafts that you've created in steps 1 and 2. And here's an example of what that might look like. We're using the same example, and so this might be what you'd wind up with in your answer box as your response. Now, in particular, as the language arts and social studies websites emphasize, you can add transition words in your revision, words like however, therefore, in addition, nevertheless. The computer looks for words like this, believe it or not, to try to judge the quality of your writing. Now, on the science test, any time you spend writing is not available. You take it away from time you can use for other questions. And since each of the writing questions on the science test is only worth about 3 times as much as a short question on the test, it doesn't make much sense to spend much time revising in science. Now, the second science question is actually the hardest of the 4 because you have to finish the sentences in step 2 of the system, not from a document, but from your own knowledge of how to create an experiment to test a hypothesis. So these are the unfinished sentences, and you have to know how to do this. Fortunately, in the science section of the science website, there is a page about how to test a hypothesis, and there are video lessons and here to help you learn how to do that. Now, each of the writing questions, as you've seen, has several examples. You can see these in the drop-down menu. Where do they come from? The best source is the 3 free practice tests from GED Testing Service, but there are just not enough examples there. So I have drawn additional examples from Cracking the GED Test, a test preparation book from Princeton Review. It's the only other source I've found, either in a book or online, in which the questions are like the ones on the real test. If you can't find a copy, you can buy one from Amazon for about $17. And so, as you've seen, on each of the 3 math tests, the same finish the sentences system helps you to answer the right question, to organize your answers well, to get the right key words and phrases to satisfy the computer. Using this system, you should be able to get at least 3/4 of the points of the writing questions in all 3 of these tests. Now, if you can also get 3/4 of the short questions in the non-math tests, and if you can get 150 points on the math test, and other parts of the PassGED website system show you how to do that, then you can pass all 4 of the GED tests and get on with your life. Now, in the intro section of each of the websites, there's a page that makes it easy for you to send me your comments and suggestions. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the test.